Hi, this is Gavin Kierstead showing off my final iteration for my level. And just to start it off, I guess the obvious stuff to point out would be that I added in meshes and textures and materials and whatnot. You know, skyboxes, lighting, nav points, spawning, all that stuff. So the stuff to actually make it play, traders posts and stuff like that. But I in this beginning area, I blocked off this before with just like blocks. Now it's actually got like cars and the this full stuff, and kind of justifying a little more as to why you can't walk over there. Um, and I had started, or I initially said that I liked the grid pattern, the grid layout, and how it provided long sight lines and stuff like that. And that turns out that actually doesn't provide very engaging gameplay because you can just kind of see anything from everywhere. Oh, hello. Yeah, so it doesn't actually contribute that well. I found out. So that was actually that brings me to my first complaint, is that it felt too open. It wasn't very interesting. And that it was too easy to some extent because you can kind of just see anything and everything. So this kind of clears up. Big guy. This stuff that I put along the rubble, this main strip demonstrates it pretty well with the trees, the van or emergency vehicle at the end there that completely blocks your sight to the bridge for the most part. Those all demonstrate kind of how I went through fulfilling that complaint. Let's just autofill that for now. And actually, since I'm here, I can speak to my second complaint, which was that it was actually a pretty specific one. How this church was like a complete death trap. The moment that you went in here, if there were zombies behind you, you couldn't get through this door without clearing the wave. So it was too difficult to get into, too difficult to get out of, and it wasn't really interesting. So I want them to come in here because this is one of my mini narratives with like the town dying in here and stuff like that. So I opened up this area and placed a spawner right here, spawner back there, that was initially a flush wall. So I opened it up, and actually there's some coming from there. I opened it up and now made it so that you can go through this area a little bit easier. Through here, I kind of made it a little more interesting as well, but with that placement of spawns, though, actually addresses the third complaint that I was getting in that the zombies were coming from areas that they didn't feel like they were on top of you. It wasn't really encroaching, wasn't engaging. They were just like, you could sit in a corner and they would just kind of come from far away. I was playing too much to the idea of visibility in that, I didn't want you to be able to see them spawn, but it's like, even if you do happen to see one pop in, for the most part, the game checks for visibility, make sure that the player isn't looking directly at the spawner. So the game should be able to handle a lot of that for you. I ramped this up to hard difficulty, just so that I could actually have a little more spawns, kind of show off the spawns that I placed a little better. But I by fixing the less engaging gameplay, I literally added more spawns, and I put them in spots where they can just be on top of the player. Like there's just one right here. Oh Jesus. And just in areas like actually, let's go to, we can go to this area. In the mall is actually a pretty good example of where I placed new spawns with, let's just quickly buy. Let's autofill that, and yes. Do I have enough? I don't. So the mall, though, is a pretty good indication of where I placed new spawns because I have to go upstairs first. initially it was just spawns coming from outside, and I was kind of relying on there already being a horde, but that's not usually the case. Usually kind of clear off the horde and it kind of constantly is coming. So I opened, as you can see, I opened up that area, placed some rubble underneath it and stuff, and there's just a big spawner on top of the actual roof. There's a spawner right behind here, so if the player doesn't look that way, they can spawn from up here and drop down through that window, and there's a spawner right down below, so it's a constant horde. This isn't a complete safe area as it was before, and now you kind of have to worry about that. Sounds scary. You have to worry about the stuff coming for you. Oh, Jesus. Ouch. So that addresses my 3 main complaints that I was getting, in that the spawns were not providing engaging gameplay. They were too far away from the player. The area was much too open. Sight lines were too clear, so nothing really interesting to look at, kind of thing. It was just basically only had my mini narratives that were interesting, and a couple of just like offshoot side areas like the church, which is kind of still a part of a mini narrative, and the one dark area that's in front of the church. That's scary. I'm gonna have to turn on God mode so I don't die. Oh jeez. Hello. I am out of ammo. Okay. That's a bit of a tough situation. But those are the 3 main complaints, as I said, though. Did I say the last one? It was that, oh yeah, the church was completely inaccessible because you would just die inside of it. So yeah. Otherwise, in general, I completely added in like a ton of props, all of the materials. That took quite a while of replacing all of my modular assets with the buildings, and placing clutter things like these things, and adding some more chairs and whatnot. Let's see, can I Kalishnikov? I can buy that. Let's do that. Oh, I keep on forgetting about ammo. And otherwise, though, I think I will be quiet for the rest of my gameplay. Oh boy. Alright, I don't feel like dying. Enable. Jeez. And God. Just finish this guy off. Alright. Sorry about that. And turn that off. Don't exactly feel like restarting the match. Alright. Oh boy. Oops. Oh, it spawns enemies? I forgot about that. What in the world? Ugh. Ugh. Holy moly. Up. What in the world? A little bit more. Yes. Alright, and in total then, that finishes up my level.